And all of my people, vacate, wait, travel. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining a live stream so early. Man, it's your boy Big Ghost Rider. Y'all already know what time it is, man. You know what I'm saying? The Tax the Rich tour, man. That's what we've been doing. Ghost, what you been doing, man? I've been out here taxing the rich. That's what I've been teaching. That's what I've been preaching. Listen, I'm a patriot of America, and I believe in a greater and better America. Is America great right now? I think that's what the Democrats' argument was against President Trump. President Trump's argument, make America great again, he's pointing out problems and issues that America has. You know what I'm saying? If the American people want change, younger voters especially, they want something different. You got to understand, it's like I'm already jumping into the content. It's like the younger voters and their loss for the access of the American dream. The younger voters in America, they're not able to, life isn't as easy or good as for them, for the large part as it was for their parents. You might, look, I'm on the Upper West Side of Manhattan right now. We might know a lot of people on the Upper West Side, younger people whose life's going to be just as good or better than their parents. But what I'm saying, for the majority of young Americans, their life won't be as good as their parents. So they feeling a crunch and they want to change. They're already usually kind of liberal or progressive. They want to change, man. We need change in this country. That's how the vast majority of the people 55 years old and younger feel. That's important. What I'm saying, what I'm teaching, what I'm preaching, I believe that taxing the rich is the future of American politics. Due to AI, a revolution that I believe will fundamentally change the world, well, you'll have a lot less workers in the workforce. I believe that we will have to find solutions in America to be able to sustain our economy and our way of life. Taxing the rich, I believe, is the future of American politics. I believe it's the right thing to do. Listen, I'm gonna say this real quick before I get into the content, because we got a different conversation to have outside of taxing the rich. You see what I'm saying? 99 episodes from the New York City area region, starting in Peekskill, which is probably about 50 miles north of New York, in May, moving to White Plains, you know what I'm saying? Moving to the city from Queens to over here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? Touching all of the boroughs besides Staten Island to include Long Island. 99 episodes I have brought y'all. You know what I'm saying? Tax the Rich 10 blogs. If you guys have not seen the Tax the Rich blogs, make sure you guys go check them out. They're under the video tab on this live stream, Legal Wars Live. Throughout all of this content, guys, because these last two streams is the last of the tour, the end of the Tax the Rich tour. Throughout all of this content, man, I believe that I have taught, or I have attempted to say, that we have suffered and we suffer social injustices in America. Our capitalistic system, within our capitalistic system, and we'll talk about this later at 2 p.m. because I'm going to get on to Iran and Afghanistan and that conflict. But within our capitalistic system in the United States, I'm saying, like, we suffer from corruption and other things from rich people. And a lot of the times, the reason why poor people are poor is because they are being held down. You see what I'm saying? Some laws, their civil rights are being violated. So I believe in taxing the rich. I believe that message is a message of hope and freedom for, you know what I'm saying, poor across America. You know what I'm saying? That being said, if you guys are in this live stream, I ask that y'all double tap the screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell, guys. This the Tax the Rich tour, as I said. This episode number 99. We gonna get to it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, this is what's going on, and you guys might not care what's going on in Iran, but I think this war is a little bit different than the other wars. Sure, I could say that other wars that we fought in the Middle East, due to that war in the Middle East, we've seen gas prices go up in relation to other wars in the Middle East. But this time, I think it's a little bit different. It seems like maybe because we in the age of information and news is so instant, but I'm saying this time it just seems like these gas prices are directly connected, or you can see a clear connection, a casual connection between President Trump deciding to go to war, and due to the Strait of Hormuz, which 20% of the world's energy goes through, due to those facts, we can see a casual connection between the price of gas and this war. You see what I'm saying? That's how this war is a little bit different than other wars. It's directly affected to not only the United States economy, but the world economy. And I'm saying in my mind, and not only in my mind, in actuality and facts, that's big. That's how this war is different. And the bigger implications is what I'm going to talk about right now. Because the bigger implications is to America, to the United States, and America standing on the world stage. So it don't matter if you're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. This is the point where we unite. Whether or not President Trump should have made the decision to go to war with Iran in the first place, we got to give that to a later account. There's going to be time that comes when the Democratic Party, Congress, the balance of power, how America was set up, there'll be times when they'll be called into question whether or not we should have went to war with Iran in the first place. But I'm saying, in my opinion, guys, this isn't that time. Whether or not he should have went to war or he shouldn't have went to war, we are at war with Iran. Let me tell you this. Listen, what if your little brother, he went and started a fight with a neighboring gang in where you at? He went and started a fight with a gang. Your little brother, he went and joined the gang. He walking around with his pants sagging. He got a pistol in his pocket, and he out there gang banging with the gang members. And I'm saying, so he go out there and he shoot or he kills somebody, and now the gang members are trying to kill him, but he live in your house. That's the situation that we have in the United States right now. Like, we are involved in a war that has great implications on our political future. Whether or not you support President Trump or not, whether or not President Trump should have been in this war or not, I'm not saying that that's not a conversation that we should not have. What I'm trying to say is use the wisdom. That's a conversation that we have at a later date or time. If we gonna have the conversation if our little brother should be in the gang or should be out there picking fights with gang members when he live in our house, we gonna have that conversation later. But right now, what we gotta do is we gotta secure our house and secure the safety of all of us. So let's start with that. Understanding where I'm coming from when I give you the strategy. Okay? Let's start here. I was trying to figure out and I did a live stream. If you guys missed it yesterday, I think it was 12:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying to figure out what's Iran's greater strategy in this war. That's where I want to start at. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you America's greatest strategy first. And then we're going to get to Iran's greatest strategy. America's greatest strategy is easy. I don't care what's coming out of President Trump's mouth saying Xi is friend. I understand the strategy. I don't care what's coming out of his mouth saying Putin's his friend. I understand the strategy. America's strategy is we are trying to protect and defend our homeland to a greater extent that most viewers will not understand. I'm saying this is CIA stuff. Yeah, this is military stuff. They're foreseeing, they're forecasting a Russia with great, immense power attacking Europe. It's going to make sense to you in a second. That's why President Trump sends J.D. Vance. They're going to Europe and they're saying, hey, Europe, y'all need to get strong so y'all can stand on y'all own. They're forecasting a greater China, a growing military power of over 1.4 billion people who don't yet have the money that America has, but they are actively trying to diminish American power, diminish the American dollar on the world stage. That's what China's goal is. Have y'all ever heard of BRICS? So I'm saying America's greater strategy, America is trying to maintain its power and presence on the world stage against great adversaries like Russia and China. It's us versus them. They bigger than us. I don't know about stronger. I don't know about richer, but they bigger than us. That's the goal, America's goal. That's what America doing. You still don't with me? You still not with me? You still not getting it yet? You still don't see it? Let me open your eyes a little bit more. President Trump, when he first came in the White House, y'all might not realize this, but I listened to a whole lot of things. And bro, I heard Secretary Rubio talking about the Panama Canal. How many of y'all heard it? He was talking about the Chinese influence in America's backyard, right on America's doorstep. You got huge Chinese influence in the Panama Canal. Their government, even their military down there. What? Not saying like Ghost out here with some conspiracy theories like the Chinese are planning to invade the United States from the Panama Canal. That's not what President Trump and them were saying. They were talking about their influence in our backyard. So y'all saw what happened, or y'all remember what happened with President Trump. Like one of the first orders of business on foreign policy, he wanted to stamp out the Chinese influence in our backyard. Panama Canal, they did that successfully. No guns picked up, no. So I'm saying it amped up from there. I guess the military, I guess whoever is calling the shots, do the strategy, they looking at the map and they saying, where is the Chinese? And in case 2027, these is key words. The Chinese leader in 2027, he shared a vision with the world of unifying Taiwan to the Chinese homeland. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is, due to those facts and due to those reasons, the Americans, they probably looking at, hey, where can China fight us at on multiple fronts? They looking at Venezuela, and looking at Venezuela, not only the Chinese and the Russians, the influence Venezuela, I'm saying they saying even the Iranians. I'm saying the third tier of power and the axis of evil standing against the United States, even the Iranians have a presence in Venezuela. So, number two, you got to snatch Maduro. You got to change the leadership. You got to get pro-American government in here. I'm saying I could throw in when the United States bombed Iran the first time, due to America or Israel saying that the Iranians were about to acquire a nuclear weapon and were actually a threat to the United States. But I don't think that's necessary for this argument. Because in this argument, President Trump's third focus of influence in America's backyard that's connected to the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians possibly is the nation of Cuba. And so that's why the United States pressed Cuba. Y'all remember the Cuban Missile Crisis with President Kennedy? Cuba has always presented a threat to the United States due to their association with Russia, America's enemies and opponents. So that's something President Trump was looking at there. There's a greater strategy at place in that when we talk about Iran, all of the United States military action, besides those strikes against those narco-terrorists, all of America's military actions have been against allies of China and Russia. Can you see it now? All of them. All of America's military aggression have been against the Chinese and the Russian allies. Nations in our backyard with links to China and Russia. You guys are so hard on Israel, but what you don't understand is Iran is a natural common American and Israeli enemy. That's natural and that's common. It only makes sense for the United States to join forces with Israel in this fight against Iran. It's a natural and common enemy. Iran, to a greater extent, if we look at racism or an association or your belief on Muslims, that'll be a whole different conversation, but I don't think that's the problem with President Trump. because the Muslims have been good to the Trump family. If you don't believe me, go to Saudi Arabia. I don't think it's no racism against the Muslims. That's not the problem. I think this is a little bit different here. I think overall, America has a greater strategy to weaken China's attempt. I'm saying if I'm looking at a chessboard, and if China is successful against Taiwan, and if Russia is successful in Ukraine, then you giving them an immense amount of power. President Trump telling Europe to rise up was the right move. That's the right move. Europe needs to get strong. America needs an ally against these bullies in the East. Listen, this is what I'm saying. This is why I think it is almost for Europe to join this war. If Germany is building their military, the way you build your military is by giving them live practice. They need live experience, and this is an opportunity for them to get live experience in a situation that threatens, the security of the entire world. 20%, 25%, you're talking about the Red Sea now of the world's energy moving through this area. I'm saying, listen, I understand your greater strategy to make Europe a power so Europe will be able to defend themselves against Russia. It's 2 against 1. It's China and Russia. We're not worried about Iran. We took care of Venezuela. We're going to take care of Cuba. We're not worried about the Panama Canal. We could take care of the little skirmishes. That was President Trump's first thought, which makes sense on the surface. That's the strategy on the surface. We could take care of the little skirmishes. But if we have to stand up against China and you got Russia fighting too, we need Europe to be able to defend themselves. We can't go down to the South Pacific Sea and try to fight the Chinese, and then you have Russia and them do a multi-front attack on Europe. You see what I'm saying? And then we trying to defend the Europeans too. And then, of course, in this situation, you know the Iranians, they going to attack the American allies' interests and Israel at this time. So it's like we trying to solve a lot of these problems that's a lot deeper than just President Trump. That's a lot deeper than the Republicans or the Democrats. It goes down to the way of life of as us Americans. That's what this comes down to. We don't want the Chinese to be the dominant language on the world stage. Wake up, English is, that can change. We don't want the yen to be the dominant, to be the money, the dominant monetary means that you use. Can you imagine being in New York City, tourists come to New York City, and they want the Chinese yen instead of the American dollar? It can come to that, especially with a $39 trillion debt. It can get to that. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the US dollar for 80 more years, at least 80 more years of dominance. That's what we're looking for. You got to understand that's good for Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats got to be wise in this situation, because this is America that's going to be left to you. If AOC wins and becomes the first female president of the United States, this is her America that she's inheriting. Just like President Obama said he inherited problems from President Bush, and that's not an opinion, that's facts. Just like President Biden said he inherited mismanagement of COVID from President Trump. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have a mess on the world stage in the Middle East, and to a greater extent, a mess that can greatly diminish American power and influence in the world if this situation is not handled correctly. So it's important that we man together and handle this situation. And then at a greater extent and on a greater level, when the Democrats are in position, because no worries, just read the history books, they will soon be in position to bring into account whether or not America should have went. There's a time and place for everything. That's scripture, that's wisdom, that's knowledge. There's going to be a time and place for that. This ain't the time and the place. This is the time to focus on a greater American strategy. The greater American strategy is if the United States does have to face the Chinese. Because I'm saying these are the Chinese leaders' words. Speak the truth that he's looking to unify Taiwan to the Chinese homeland. If you're trying to cripple the United States economy, that's a great way to start. Semiconductors, Taiwan produce, there's other nations that produce those semiconductors, but the way the Taiwanese, do it, and I'm saying basically China with control of them semiconductors, they could almost shut down Silicon Valley. There's materials in them semiconductors that we use to create almost everything, especially electronically, that we use. This is an important issue. Under no circumstances will the United States not help Taiwan challenge the Chinese, just like the goal was to help the Ukrainians challenge the Russians. There's a greater war going on. We're looking at another Cold War times 5. Cold War 2.0, where the United States is having to fight and defend against the Chinese possibly and soon, and the Russians. Another Cold War. It's a bigger problem. There are bigger issues here than the United States and Iran, this current conflict. So I'm saying a deeper examination, examining a picture the way the CIA gonna examine that picture, whether you got a President Trump or a President AOC, they're gonna look at that chessboard and say, at this moment and in this time, when we see the Chinese, a power that's rising, that's trying to cripple us, in order for us to be able to stand against them and not let them project power, their Navy project power, what they're trying to do, what they're building across the way we do that is we're going to hit a lot of their proxies, a lot of their allies, a lot of their friends. That's a greater strategy. So we need to understand that. That's where I'm coming from. That being said, I'm gonna say if we looking at it from that situation, I was hard on JD Vance for getting that year, for being soft, because the Europeans did in fact strengthen Putin and basically built Russia's military to where Putin ended up attacking Ukraine. So hard on the Europeans for that, JD Vance. I was like, JD, man, the Europeans, your friends, don't get at your friends like that. But I'm saying today, I understand that. I'm giving you the game right now, the whole game. So I'm saying President Trump putting tariffs on the whole world. I don't understand what you're trying to do, but I'm giving you the whole game. He trying to say it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's like almost every man for himself. That's the mentality at this moment. But we're going to talk about some mistakes being made in that situation. We're going to start talking about them right now. Because I'm saying if I'm looking at the chessboard, I'm saying President Trump, on a greater level, I'm saying you told the Europeans, first of all, you go to Ukraine and you get America's money back. That's the first thing you did. If President Biden spent $350 million, President Trump, that $350 was well needed, because you're going to understand it when I finish saying what I'm about to say. Putin has lost 500,000 U.S. troops. It's the same CIA. It's the same American military. It's the same strategists that have a deep affection for this country, regardless of what president. It's the same bird, different wings. You got to understand that. So what they saying is when they looking at this picture, I'm trying to see what's going on. We looking at And if we got to face the Chinese, and you looking at the Russians and their influence, so hey, Europe, you're going to have to get strong. This is how we going to do it. First of all, I'm going to get my 350 million back. Second of all, we're going to just let NATO buy the weapons from us, and we're going to let NATO support the Ukrainians. I'm saying, bro, that was, listen to me, to this point, that was an excellent strategy. No one can argue that. No one can deny that. To this point, that was an excellent strategy. Zelensky is sitting over there knocking, he is picking Putin apart. Putin trying to rebuild another whole army. He getting 30,000 more troops from the North Koreans. He trying to recruit more soldiers, because as soon as he send the soldiers onto the battlefield, the Ukrainians are killing them. Zelensky and them have perfected drone warfare. They've changed warfare on the world stage forever. Zelensky will get credit for that. And he's been able to kill 70%, 70 to 90% of 500,000 Russians in 5 years with those drones. He's beaten back Putin. He's taken back a whole lot of land. Russia is importing oil. He hitting them Russian oil fields, not beating them to sleep. I'm saying what Zelensky has done, what you guys have not realized, have been a great thing for the West. What Zelensky has done for the West, for the entire West, what he has accomplished and achieved will be studied in history and world history for generations. Zelensky is a great warrior, boy. I'm trying to tell y'all that. It's a greater strategy. It's a beautiful strategy. It's string music. Looking at geopolitics from this perspective, when I turn on my CNN news that I love so much, shout out to CNN and all the great work they do. I don't care what President Trump say about y'all. When I turn on my CNN news and I listen to them, a lot of what they're saying is factual. It's like, it feels like it's almost heartbreaking to see a fracture or a break with America's relationship with Europe. But that's not what this is about. America, for the majority of the time, has been the one leading the world to handle these problems. That hadn't changed yet. But what the United States is saying, that if we have to fight a multi-front war, we cannot fight China and Russia across the entire world. The Chinese, they popping up down in South America. They popping up in Central America. The Russians are trying to race across Europe. And then you got the tiny little bitty nation of Taiwan is going to attempt to do what Zelensky did against Russia and Ukraine. And America will have to be there to aid them. We cannot fight all of this by ourselves. Come on, Europe. You're going to have to wake up, get up, and stand up. Germany got the third best economy in the entire world, and they're growing fast. So the Germans, they're getting their military back together. I'm saying America has delivered to you, Germany, everlasting peace. And what America asks for you now is for you to stand up and help us fight the same fight that we've been fighting since World War II, since the rise of the Soviet Union. But the Soviet Union ain't by themselves no more. They're much more stronger. The Soviet Union was stronger than Russia times 1,000. It encompassed Ukraine and a whole bunch of other nations. But we talking about Russia with China together. I don't know if the Soviets, I hadn't studied this. I'm not going to speak something I don't know what the Soviet economy was back in those days. I know Russia's economy is worse than several U.S. states. It's worse than most countries in Europe. A lot of countries in Europe, the major ones. But what I'm saying, you can't say that about the Chinese, 1.4 billion people. You can't say that about the Chinese with the technology and the artificial intelligence they're bringing. They're a worthy foe for the United States. So what the United States is saying, we don't need to fight Russia, China, and nobody else. And that's a possibility that that will happen, especially with the pictures and the signals that the Russians and the Chinese are giving. We don't know if they're true. But I'm saying the Russians and the Chinese have signed agreements that are similar to NATO's one for all for one. They have. Against the United States, BRICS, they've been preparing to stand against America, and they've watched American aggression and dominance on the world stage for a multitude of generations. The little guys against the big guys, that's their mentality. So you guys got to understand, before we even speak about the Iranian war or the war with Ukraine and Russia, just tapped on it, a greater situation is that America does not want to face a multi-front situation. So they woke up Europe, and it has been a great success. No one's going to give President Trump credit for that, but that's factual. Him waking up Europe, and Europe has returned, and Zelensky looks like a superhero standing up against Russia, a superhero. Europe has the money. Zelensky is giving them the muscle. They buying weapons for America, and President Trump has to realize that the United States, our success, our future on the world stage, it directly connects with Zelensky and his fight against Russia. It's the West versus the East. It's the West versus the East. Ain't nothing changed. If Zelensky beats Russia, that's a victory for the West. Where's the United States at? The United States is the leader of the West, the leader of the free world. If Zelensky beats Russia, no one can argue that's a victory for the West, and a victory for the West is a victory for the United States. I'm saying if Zelensky beats Russia, he has maintained the international world order that you are not allowed to redraw international borders through military aggression. The United States has never done that. Where has America done that? We went and attacked Afghanistan, and then we put a part of Afghanistan as part of our country. We went and invaded Iraq, and then we made a part of Iraq. You know, this little region, the Donbass region, this part is a part of America forever. We ain't never redrew international borders through all of our escapades, in which some weren't necessary. Or we should have fought them in different ways, but we never redrew international borders. That's something Russia's doing. So what I'm saying is they gonna redefine a law, or they're gonna redefine a situation on the world stage. They're redefining the way we conduct business. That's big. That's what they trying to do. With that war in Ukraine, a victory for Zelensky, a victory for Ukraine is a victory for Europe, is a victory for Canada, is a victory for Mexico, is a victory for the United States. Yes, indeed. President Trump has to be able to see this. I don't know why the CIA hadn't explained this. A greater strategy is I'm going to come out in public and act like I'm your friend, Putin, in public. And behind the scenes, I'm going to get the greatest and brightest Americans to help the Europeans stomp you. To help Zelensky stomp you, Putin, because you have to be defeated. He has to be defeated. That makes absolutely no sense. If you let Putin win in Ukraine, you are basically giving him Europe. And then what you gonna stand up against China and Asia for? You might as well give them Asia. That's a failed, incorrect strategy. We're not giving away Europe. That's crazy. Next, they gonna be demanding for America. Yeah, you don't remember that's how it works. In power. Next, they gonna be trying to come across that Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. Nah, that's not how it works. We gonna go meet them where the problem at. And Putin, you trying to expand Russia, and we're not for that in the United States, just to let you know, Vladimir. We're not for you expanding the Russian homeland, Mother Russia. We're we're not for that in American intelligence. We are against that. We don't like the way that sounds. Putin, you can stay within your boundaries and your borders. And instead of trying to gain territory or military power, you could just sit there and get rich. That's what the Chinese did. The Chinese said, man, screw all these wars, screw spending all this money on our military. First things first, we gonna take 300 to 400 million people and we gonna bring them out of poverty. That's first thing first. We gonna take artificial intelligence and we gonna integrate it in our buildings, in our society. First thing first, we gonna build up China and we're gonna try to make China the future America and try to... They didn't watch it. They took the playbook the United States used against the United Kingdom. And meanwhile, in between while, the great power of America is trying to maintain on the world stage. Do y'all see the picture? There's bigger implications here. Putin needs to be defeated. I'm saying in my mind, it's as big. Listen, this is what the game plan, and I told y'all we gonna get to this with the Iranian strategy. I'm trying to figure out what's Iran's greatest strategy. If I'm fighting a war of attrition, I'm saying there's singularity goals that I'm trying to achieve. America's military strategy is to, and I heard General Kane say this, Secretary Hegseth say this, I heard President Trump say this. We want to diminish Iran's power in the region. We want to stop them from being able to project power against their neighbors in the region. Number one, first and foremost, we want to ensure that they never have a nuclear weapon. They have direct military goals. So I'm saying Iran's military goals, what their military goals is, your military goal can't be that you are going to defeat the United States military in no kind of conflict. Let's be real. That's what I'm saying. You can't be Republican or Democrat in here. You got to understand, we talking to American government. The Iranians got to remember, this is the same government that killed Osama bin Laden. The same government. They will hunt you, they will find you, and they will kill you. I'm saying in the end, the Taliban could retain power. I said this yesterday, but all those leaders who started out leading the Taliban, they all dead. They all dead. A lot of times they family members dead, they mamas and they children's dead. That's what happened to the supreme leader. His dad, when he died, you see what, that's how America is. They're not gonna play with you. They're gonna hunt you and they're gonna kill you. In the politics of it, you could get a softer politician and a Democrat, the politics, but the military standard. Listen, I said this before, and I turned on Fox News and I heard somebody say it. I ain't gonna say there's no correlation. Shout out Fox News, you know what I'm saying? But listen, I'm just saying I heard somebody say it. They said, oh, if people look at the military objectives in Iraq, the American military went in there and say stomped them. That's what happened. Yeah. And that same war where you stayed too long, I'm saying within that same war, within the first 24, 48 hours, they rolled through Baghdad. Y'all don't remember that? I remember that. Rolled through Baghdad. First time, second time. Venezuela, yeah, every single time. That's how the American military performed. You let the politicians get in there. They too old, they tired, and they stuck in the past, and now they trying to maintain. Listen, if America put the Marines on Cargill Island, them Marines gonna take Cargill Island in with less than 30 minutes. They gonna have complete, every Iranian faction on that island will be dead in 30 minutes if them Marines landed on Cargill Island. That's exactly how that will go. The problem is trying to maintain the island. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? The problem is America staying too long. That's politicians making those decisions. That's not the military. So what I'm saying, on a greater, larger strategy, how can the Iranians think? They're not in their mind thinking that they're gonna, like we got an IRGC soldier and we gonna match him up against a Marine, and that's my strategy to win. Because I'm saying, why are you trying to fight them for 50 years, for 10 years, for 15 years? That's what I'm saying. It don't make no sense. Like every time there's a point of peace, President Trump trying to get peace, The Iranians lash back out. Here they go. They striking. When America was hit them for 11, 12 days, America backed out. Here comes the Iranians. They striking again. They starting it back up, trying to control the Strait of Hormuz. I'm trying to look at the Iranians' goals. I could see clearly defined goals. In a unified Iran, that might be the problem. I heard a military analysis on Fox said that Iran had a plan to where they got 32 different provinces, and all 32 provinces are acting independently of each other without a centralized government. In a situation, that's a great strategy. In a situation like that, that will have to be a nightmare for the United States. You got 32 different governments. 32 different governments within the borders of Iran acting independently of each other. It's called the Mosaic Plan. And it came in 2002, 2003 after the Iranians watched Iraq fall to the hands of the Americans. They came up with a plan. So I'm saying thank you for that donation, y'all. The military analyst, he called off like 3 different provinces where he said that, like, you know, they're acting independently of each other. What? Hold up, let me try to figure this out, because that's a lot going on. Because I'm saying politically in a unified Iran, not knowing their politics was connected with their religion, but politically in a unified Iran, my mind is saying that you got a couple of simple goals. Well, your first goal, you want to make President Trump look stupid. I mean, you pretty much accomplished that. The second goal, you want to demonstrate that at a moment's notice, you could control the Strait of Hormuz. You've accomplished that. I'm saying your third goal would be to attack and diminish American bases in the region. Iran accomplished so many goals, but one thing for certain and 2 things for sure, their biggest goal had to be, if I'm gonna develop nuclear material to stand against the United States, I don't think their strategy is we're worried about being destroyed by America. You gotta think like they think. These nations have watched America on the world stage for years. They know if we don't pursue a nuclear bomb, then President Bush said we are peaceful. America's pretty much not going to get after you if you're not pursuing a nuclear bomb. They pursuing this nuclear bomb, wanting to smoke. They know America's going to get after them. But they have experienced, not just from President Obama, this is their greater strategy. It's got the dollar bill. The money is going to be that's where you got, it's all going to link back to the money. I don't care about, listen, there's Muslims in Saudi Arabia, and they snorting coke and they hiring prostitutes. And they Muslims. I ain't gonna call no name. They as real as a Muslim. I'm talking about Saudi, where Mecca, where all the Islamic religious, in Saudi Arabia, they in the desert with Lamborghinis snorting cocaine, and just like Christians do that, just like there's Jews who do that. You see what I'm saying? So you don't tell me that your religion is your number one motivative factor. You can't even practice or spread your religion without money. The dollar is going to be the end all be all. What's their primary goal? What they trying to accomplish primarily? Number one, primarily what they trying to accomplish is to get money. The Iranians are aware from President Obama that the Americans will give you a lot of money if you got nuclear material. President Trump said he's not going to do that. The only way in the Iranians' mind, they going to make a deal. That $350 billion that, or however much money, million it was, that y'all make fun of President Obama for giving the Iranians, they finna get 10 times more than that after the end of this contract. The Iranian war, excuse me, their Iranians' goal should be to see $1 trillion. That should be their goal. Mosaic plan, this plan, that plan. Listen, y'all military people think of it from a military strategical strategy. The supreme leader, yeah, he might have been a very religious man, but I'm saying the people in Iran, the common sense people, the IRGC people, I'm telling you, they know, they friends with Qatar. They right next to Abu Dhabi. You see what I'm saying? They friends with Saudi Arabia. They friends with other Muslim nations. They see these Muslim nations being westernized, and you might be against that. Just like I'm against giving a tax break, giving a billionaire a tax break in America. But my politics isn't going to split with the Republican Party when it comes to the American people getting money or the American government getting money. So I'm saying that's going to be a common understanding. Human nature, that's going to be a common goal, I believe, of the Iranians is going to be to get money. And you talking about the Gulf states promising to give them 300 to 400 with a B billion. That's way bigger of a payout than President Obama gave them. They getting a better deal. President Trump, I don't care if the United States ain't giving them the money. They getting it from the Gulf states. Do you understand that has to be their greatest strategy is to get the money? I don't care. Listen, if you was a religious fanatic and you was completely against any worldly associations, everybody's the devil. The Christians are blue-eyed devils. The Israelis are the great Satan or the little Satan or whatever Satan. And all the Zionists and every Christian are devils. And they're a capitalistic society. You're completely against it. And you're promoting, because I seen someone like that, but you're promoting killing tens of thousands of your own citizens too while you making fun of the Americans, because the Americans ain't doing that. The Europeans ain't doing that, but you promote killing tens of thousands of your own because you got some kind of better way. Even if you believe like that, in order for you to fight against the Americans, the richest nation on earth, you need money, boy. You got $1 and they got $1,000. What kind of fight you gonna fight against them if it's a fight about money? If it's a fight involving what stuff you need for money, like Shaheed drones and like bullets and like paying your soldiers, how you gonna ever stand up against that empire in a greater strategy? The greater strategy of Iran has to be to get that bread. That has to be the greater strategy of the Iranians. It has to be to get money. So I'm saying if they can't get as good of a deal with Obama, they might not get the money from you, President Trump. They might not get the money from the United States. All the United States say we got 24 billion of frozen money. I'm saying that's more money than they got from President Obama. From my understanding, I might be wrong. Y'all get in the comments and argue it out amongst yourselves. But what I'm saying, President Trump saying that's they frozen money and we gonna lift sanctions. That's what we gonna do. That's a whole lot of money for the Iranians to be able to throw their oil at will on the world stage. I understand you hate America, but your ultimate goal, if you're going to fight America, you're going to act cool, stupid. Sign the memorandum and stop attacking and get all the bread. And then after the deal, rebuild yourself and get back at it again in 20 years. I'm saying the Iranians can't think they're going to sit there, go toe for toe with the United States and beat the United States. I'm saying, in my opinion, and I've said this once, and I'm going to say this twice, because I also seen on Fox News that the United States and Israel are considering land blockades in Iran. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm saying, moving forward, y'all know I told y'all now, this ain't about individual support or no support for President Trump. This about the United States and our on the world, or you moving forward. The world that he gonna hand to AOC or to Governor Newsom or to VP Harris. That's what I'm saying. You got to understand that moving forward, we got to stay focused on that. So moving forward, we don't want to be in a world where the Iranians are controlling the Strait of Hormuz or charging fees on the strait. That's a no. It's not gonna. That's negative. It cannot happen. That's for America. That's not good for America. That's not good for Europe. That's definitely not good for President Trump. You talking about not being as weak as President Obama. Well, imagine you having to deal with the Iran problem, and at the end of it, they gain power. Now they in control of 20% of where the world's energy flow from. You can't allow that. That cannot happen. So President Trump, 11 days, listen, if you talking about completely stepping on the Iranians, if he does that, gas gonna be $9 a gallon. You see what I'm saying? You gotta have a team where you got Scott B on that team. Think about that. You got a money man, an economic man in your situation room. That's what is required for the United States in strategizing in this war. They have to have an economic man up in here with Pete Hegseth and these generals. Because if you continue to hit, if you fight them like you were fighting in Afghanistan or in Iraq, what I'm saying, that gas gonna be $9 a gallon. So yeah, you gotta hit them for 11 days and cool down. Make it seem like it's gonna be some kind of peace or negotiations. That's gonna cool the rise of gas and get the price of oil to just drop down a little bit. That's gonna keep the stock market. I'm saying you gotta manage that conflict. This is a little trickier now. But anyway, the Iranians say, hey, y'all ain't gonna, they attacking ships in the Straits. So okay, here we go. President Trump and them, they fired back up, in the US military, they finna come through again. I'm saying if you look at a greater strategy for America in this war, y'all notice I'm talking a lot of strategy, because after this afternoon, when we come back on August the 4th, it's going to be strategizing with Ghost Rider. If you look at America's greater strategy in this war against the Iranians right now, what I'm saying, the Americans, in my opinion, them talking about putting land blockades down in Iran, I've said this before 1,000 times. In my opinion, that needs to be all Israeli soldiers. That don't need to be zero American soldiers. The only way America joins Israel and listen, I'm for putting troops on the ground in Iran. I am for that. Just not American troops. You're gonna need to have some kind of ground force if you're going to want to get Iran to a situation or in a position to where they're like, okay, this is stupid because we're going to get beat to sleep. Because they think, listen, this is the problem. I think the Iranians, that's why I said I believe General Kane need to negotiate. They looking at President Trump and they think President Trump is a crash out, excuse me. The Iranians looking at President Trump, they think he a burnout. They think he gonna mismanage. They think he gonna make a mistake. They think he gonna make an error. They think he's gonna mismanage this conflict, like putting troops on Carg Island. That's what Lindsey Graham was saying. That's a wrong. If you gotta go to Carg Island to get something, and the Marines coming out of there, just like you did in Venezuela, do it. They gonna be altered. Probably ain't one of them gonna die. And whatever flag they trying to go capture off that island, they gonna capture that flag successfully. But you talking about sitting Marines on that small space right off the coast of Iran? That's a nightmare scenario. That's not how you do that. That's not how you fight that war. So I'm saying, if you got the military, I'm not going to argue with this, because you got to be able to stomp on Iran. So if the military is saying that we need to put some boots on the ground to create some land blockades in Iran, and it's going to give us greater power and authority in that nation, I'm saying it's going to get bloody. Let the Israelis do it. Why should there be one American soldier? I'm saying, in my opinion, what BB you need to do in this situation, you need to build a coalition, not Saudi Arabia. If you guys are considering put boots on the ground, the only way, and they have not listened to me before, I'm saying I've given advice that's geared or towards BB or President Trump, the United States or Israel. They have not listened before. The only way you need to be able to do this, if I was President Trump, I would allow the Israeli troops to do the blockade in Iran. And I'm going to tell you there's a reason why. First, you're not losing American soldiers. It's better for you politically. you're not using your resources. I would give Israel all the American equipment they need to be able to carry out this task. But I think it's important for BB to use his troops in Iran. I think that's important. For President Trump, I think that'll help you, that'll help America, that'll help every president moving forward. Listen to me. Listen, if I was a Democrat and I wanted to listen, because this is a fine balance. You can't just say we're not going to support Israel no more. It just don't make sense for us strategically, militarily. But in America, politically, there's a lot of people, especially young people, almost the whole Democratic Party, they've moving away from their support for Israel. And I'm saying we've discussed that that's due to Bibi Netanyahu being overly aggressive and being viewed as a bully. So this is what you need to do. If the military General Kane's coming to me and he's giving me strategy that I do need some boots on the ground for whatever situation it is that he needs to be able to get Iran to the negotiating table, let it be Israeli troops. It makes only the perfect sense. Not the United States and Israel, Fox News. It needs to be just the Israelis. That's it. Because what I think this is going to teach BB from stop being over aggressive when he start getting those political fallback from them Iranians using the drones against the Israelis, because I'm telling you, they cannot stand the Israelis. The Israelis can't stand them. They said they wanted to wipe you off the face of the earth. It's smoke. If we gotta have the smoke, then let Israel have the smoke with them. Let Israel have the smoke with them. Hey, Israel, BB might go over there with some kind of beeper strategy, and he might beat the crud buckets off of them. That's not what happened with America when they tried to maintain troops in Iran or Iraq or no Middle Eastern nation. In Afghanistan, excuse me, not Iran, but Iraq and Afghanistan. But maybe BB knows something different. Maybe BB know how to put troops on the ground in Iran with not having a lot of casualties. Maybe you know how to do that, BB Netanyahu. But we don't want our soldiers getting killed in numbers by Shaheed drones fighting a war in Iran, when they can't threaten New York City or Washington, D.C. or Miami or Houston or San Diego or Los Angeles or Seattle. They don't threaten us. They threaten Israel. Iran threatens Tel Aviv. That's who they threaten. You see what I'm saying? We could support the Israelis, give them all the equipment necessary. You already giving them billions of dollars a year. We gonna support you, BB. Because we need some boots on the ground now. You got to expand this conflict. Iran wants to fight. We can argue whether or not President Trump should have done it at a later time. We got to get out of here for right now. Listen, this is my question. How many of us love America? You love America. How many of us want this situation going on for another, when the Democrat come take over in 2029, how many of us want a war in the Middle East still being played out on the world? No, we want this stuff to get over with. I know it probably benefits the Democrats politically, but I'm saying in my mind, it benefited them enough to take over the House of Representatives with what they got going on already. I don't know how it benefits America as a whole for this conflict to continue. Yet alone, this conflict is still be going on when they take over. That don't benefit them. I wouldn't want to deal with none of this mess. I'm telling you, this is how we gonna get out of this. General Kane and them know what they doing. This is what we need to do. He said he needs some boots on the ground. I knew we gonna come to this. Because the Iranians, they on some kind of suicide mission. It's their ego. Can you imagine President Trump, who ego might be too big, who might be too gun-ho, and the Democrats trying to capitalize on that mistake. The only problem is he going against somebody crazier than him. He going against somebody who ego bigger than him. He going against somebody who more gun-ho than him. The Iranians, they on a suicide mission. They want to keep fighting against the strongest military in the world. And not only they doing that, they trying to bring in other nations. They want Saudi Arabia to get in it. They want Zelensky to get in it. They want Egypt to get in it. He threatened the United Kingdom. Like, I know that's got to be the Chinese doing that. Because I'm saying the Iranians cannot, for 15 seconds, think that they could really, you going to stand against the United States in a prolonged military. You want the Marines hunting and killing you. I'm telling you, President Trump, I'll fight him how President Obama would do it. How you and Bibi started talking about cutting the head of the snake. I have y'all name. You got my name on the hit list. President Trump said that he #1 on their hit list. Well, guess what? I'm finna make a hit list like President Obama did. I got 200 of y'all on my hit list. I got 2,000 of y'all on my hit list, and I'm gonna turn them Marines loose on you. I'm gonna turn them Navy SEALs loose on you, boy. Yeah, who want Navy SEALs hunting them? Who want the Navy SEALs to hunt them when they in their sleep? Who want that? Anybody in the world. Any leader in the whole world, the United States has demonstrated that. The Americans have demonstrated better than trying to fight an entire war and effect regime change. They've demonstrated better. Who want that smoke? What individual human want that smoke on the whole world? Osama, we gonna hunt you, and them Marines gonna find you, and them Navy SEALs, they gonna kill you. No one wants that. So it don't make sense to me. That sounds vicious, but it sounds more vicious for the Iranians to continue to fight a war. The goal is to get the $1 trillion and be through. President Trump, he giving you, listen, he might not be giving you the money, but you getting it from the Gulf states. Think about it, y'all. He finna get hundreds of billions of dollars from them, but nah, that ain't what you want. You want the smoke. You want to keep fighting. I don't see what their greater strategy is. You done accomplished, you done made President Trump look stupid, right? You done demonstrated you could control the strait, right? I'm saying what? You think we gonna let you have toll? I guess they think President Trump gonna crash out and make some errors. That's all I could come up with. It don't make no sense why they keep fighting. But at this point, and I'm saying America moving forward in the strategy session, with them saying they need boots on the ground now, Fox News, they talking about boots on the ground now. Bibi and President Trump talking about that. If you gonna do that, they need to be President Trump. It's time for you to step in and give a directive to the military and the CIA and tell Bibi he gonna have to put all. It's gonna have to be all Israeli troops. Yeah, I'm for boots on the ground, Israeli boots on the ground. Let them get it out. Let them get that out their system. You know, Israel and Iran, they've been hating each other. Iran been threatening to wipe them off the face of the earth. If you on the Muslim side, they've been hating each other for a while. Let them get it out their system. IRGC, here you go against the IDF, face-to-face. IDF versus the IRGC, face-to-face. Get it out your system. I think that'll help you, President Trump, politically in 1,000 ways. Yeah, that'll help with no American boots, no American casualties, no spending no American dollars. At the same time, I think Bibi is not going to be as successful due to drone warfare as he thinks. I think the overall military objectives he's going to be able to accomplish. If his goal is to hold the line, he's going to hold the line, but he's going to lose a lot of troops in the meantime. And I'm saying one thing that's going to get them Israelis mad at you or losing confidence is Bibi is seeing them Israeli soldiers in large numbers coming back to Israel in body bags, and they were killed by the IRGC. Maybe next time Bibi want to get gun-ho, you know what I'm saying, or maybe Israel, because the new government, if they win, they said they ain't forming no coalitions with you, Bibi. I'm telling you, they got elections in Israel coming in October, if I'm not mistaken. And the people who winning in the polls, they said if they win, they're not forming no government with you, Bibi. So I'm saying that might be the best thing for Israel and America's relations moving forward. Because we don't need to cut off Israel as our allies, because Israel need to remain American allies. What we need to do is we need to reform that relationship in a way that makes sense to the American people and the American public. Because the American public, in large part, have moved away from our support for Israel due to the way, in my opinion, that Bibi Netanyahu has handled the war and other things, AIPAC and other things as well. But yet and still, I'm trying to tell y'all from this point, I don't see what Iran's greater strategy is. It almost any way that America and Israel move forward in this conflict together, the Iranians, I don't see how they win. And so we have to win this conflict in Iran. We absolutely have to. Because as we started the live stream about an hour ago, it relates to a greater strategy of power, the power struggle on the international world stage. It relates to a greater strategy. Y'all just think about the Cold War. All the wars, Vietnam, all the skirmishes in Korea, all the wars, communist versus democracy, the USSR versus America or NATO, all of those wars over the years. Y'all just think about that. That's what we're doing again. But instead of it being the USSR versus NATO or America, it's Russia and a greater power, China, together. That's a greater problem for America. Russia and China together is a greater problem for NATO than the USSR ever was. And the strategists, the strategic minds behind the United States and our military endeavors and maneuvers, we are looking at Chinese and Russia united, and that is frightening. So we need to start hitting them. Yeah, Ukraine defeating Russia. Zelensky defeating the Russians, defeating Putin is good for America, is good for the West. We have to win in Iran, man. We have to. We cannot allow them to control the Strait. We cannot. We have to win in Iran. We have to. And if I was a Democrat, maybe if your strategy greater is it for it to continue to November, I think it's going to continue to November anyway. But I'm saying if your greater strategy is it for it to continue to November, that's going to happen anyway. But once we get to November, we want this war to end, man. We do not, listen, after y'all Democrats, y'all get y'all's election and y'all victory, there's no other reason for you got the power. The power you will have or will not have in Congress is going to happen after November. So from November, I'm saying the Democrats shouldn't focus Congress shouldn't focus all of their attention on prosecuting President Trump, because I don't want to be doing live streams in 2028 talking about how the Harry Enton, the Democrats' biggest red flag isn't not having no money. Listen, you think the Democratic National Convention being negative millions of dollars in debt, you think that's going to stop Sahib from winning in Michigan? El Sahib from winning in Michigan? Because the Democrats don't have no money, that ain't gonna stop an individual candidate from performing or being successful. You think the Democratic Party being in the hole is gonna stop them from raising $1 billion in 2028 like they did, breaking records? You think the Democratic Party being in the hole is gonna stop Zoran Mondami from winning against another Democrat? See, if Mondami would have run against a Republican, he would have beat him 86-14. But because he ran against another blue Democrat who he was outspent 3-1, he still walked the dog on him. It don't matter. If you got a good politician and what you saying is resonating with the people, guess what? The Constitution gonna give you the power. And that's what happened. So I'm trying to make this clear and let us understand this. Listen, you're going to have your time to be President Trump, but don't end up losing an election because you too far. I don't think it's going to happen this midterms. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats ain't never lost message. The Democrats got off message, or they made their message instead of their message to gas prices. You know what I'm saying? Hakeem Jeffries, he's done fixed this. You see what I'm saying? He done came out with his closing arguments before the midterms. And his closing arguments is gas prices. It's the price of food. It's the price of rent. That's what his closing arguments is. Affordability. If the Democrats' closing arguments is affordability, your closing arguments can't be that President Trump made $2.5 billion a year. That can't be your closing arguments. Your closing arguments can't be that President Trump's on the Epstein list, or President Trump got a $400 million plane from the Qataris. That can't be your closing arguments. Here you go again, Democrats. That's what I'm saying. You guys, I'm a forward-looking strategist. When the Democrats, after they get the power, though, in 2026, what I'm saying, in Congress, the American people are going to be watching and witnessing a lot of President Trump's family members who did make 2 point whatever billion is coming to testify in front of Congress. They're going to get investigated. The American people are going to see President Trump's cabinet coming before Congress getting investigated over this Iran war. It's going to get chaotic. But I'm saying that I think that AOC, I don't think you got to worry about it, because I think you're going to get a true blue progressive Democrat, just like AOC is a female version of Barack Obama. That's what I think your female version going to be. You have an extreme, and I know a lot of people, because AOC has been on a political scene for a long time, a lot of people are diminishing her presence and her power. The older people, and we hear a lot of Republicans, they make fun of her, but what you got to realize, in an economy where people are concerned, and we talking about the people making less than $100,000 a year, they're concerned with economic issues, having a progressive. That's how Obama won. You got your first black president, and he was a progressive. Because they going to look at what AOC talking about, and they know she different than any other Democrat, because we done seen her out there fighting for the people. We done seen Bernie Sanders. We done seen my dog fighting for the people. We seen Mandami fighting. So one, a common denominator between Democratic socialists that you gonna have, Hakeem Jeffries, when you dealing with that power structure or that power, because he has to be able to handle this correctly, not how Nancy Pelosi handled this. When the Democrats, it's a little civil war going on. But what I'm trying to say is, you gonna get your most support, AOC is, because they know she gonna fight. But they looking for someone who gonna do something for us. That's what, this is a moment the American people, they want change. The young people, if she get up there addressing the housing crisis, y'all already know if AOC and Bernie Sanders announce that they coming to the Upper West Side, you gonna have thousands. If they say they going anywhere they go in America, they go into LA, you're going to have 100,000 people out there. They did it before. We understand that. The young people going to be enthusiastic. They looking for change. AOC is going to be that. I'm telling you, she'll be a bigger change artist. This is a Latina. Do you know they've been trying to get a woman elected? You know how Latinas, their growth, you think about in Texas, you think about in Florida, you think about in California. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about the blue states, but there are battleground states like Arizona where that Latina vote is important, like New Mexico. You see what I'm saying? You could turn Florida from being a solid red state to a pink. I'm telling you, I believe you could do that with AOC. Hispanic woman. Shit, that's a coalition. I see a coalition for her already. But what I'm saying is, the reason I'm saying that, because I believe her politics will work well in America in the time that we're in. Because the American people, listen, you give me a Republican, he corrupt. You give me a Democrat, he corrupt. You give me a Republican, he enriching his own pockets. You give me a Democrat, he enriching his own pockets. You gonna get the American people, they know we gonna get the same thing. That's why most of them are independents. The difference is, Mandami is doing something for us too. Whatever you want to say, if they corrupt, he corrupt, she corrupt, who corrupt, we don't care. We know that this corrupt dude isn't doing nothing for us. This corrupt doing something for the rich people, and this corrupt dude doing something for us. So the American people gonna vote for the corruption that's helping them, not the corruption that's helping 10% of the rich people. The Republicans never figured that out. That's why they lost every election into President Trump in 2024, because he was selling it like he was going to be a part. That's why the people making under 50,000, they believed in him. Inflation hurt the pocketbooks of Americans so bad, they took it out on President Biden and VP Harris. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm saying it looks good for AOC or for VP Harris with the economic policy she had. I think running against AOC, they all gonna have to sprint to the left though. So you're gonna see, I think you'll see America, a left America in 2029, America that has moving far to the left of where it was before, definitely right now. And I don't want to hear no complaints from Mike Johnson or President Trump and them. Y'all pat yourself on the back. You see what I'm saying? Barack Obama getting elected created the Tea Party, and Tea Party is pretty much what MAGA became. The Tea Party turned to MAGA. It turned into MAGA. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's a Democratic Tea Party moment for sure. I heard that on CNN. Definitely. It's definitely that. If they could pull together a coalition, what President Obama did, y'all seen him do in 2008, I'm saying the Democrats, they could make that look like child's play. It could be a first time. You imagine a Democrat in 2028 winning 57% of the popular vote. The Republicans gonna feel like, I mean, and then at the end of that, what they tried to do to President Trump, if the Democrats win 57% of the popular vote for a presidential election, I don't see how President Trump don't get new charges and new convictions and end up really in jail. And the Democrats, if they get power like that, they gonna tear down everything that he ever tried to build. So that's my take on it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We need Ukraine to beat Putin. We need to be able to stand up against the Chinese aggression. We need the West to be successful against the East, against Russia and China. We got to stay focused on this. I understand President Trump strengthening the Europeans. The Europeans, I want to congratulate y'all. I have several times for a great job y'all have done with rallying behind Zelensky, accepting and embracing Zelensky, and supporting Zelensky to be able to beat Russia. After y'all finish beating Russia, y'all can unite. The Europeans, y'all need to unite as one, really. Stand as one at least against the world, and Europe will be a world power again with nuclear weapons, with aircraft carriers. Europe has everything China has. Europe together is stronger than China. Y'all just don't know that. You don't understand that. I understand that. Europe together, their mentality isn't that they're weak. Those Italian mountain troops aren't weak. The British Navy isn't weak. The French Air Force isn't weak. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The problem is they've just depended on the United States. That's what they had to do. That's what they done all those years. That's why, look, I wanted to say this. I wanted to start with this. And I'll say this before I get into the comments. The different President Trump is trying to fight against the entire East by himself. Okay, well, not really, because I guess he got Europe fighting against Russia, but I'm saying, like, you going against Iran, you have Venezuela and Cuba, you need to get a coalition, you need to get Europe involved. Europe needs to get in Iran. I've preached that and preached that and preached that, and I'm going to preach that, Marco Rubio, until you get that done. I'm going to preach that, Speaker Johnson, till you get that done. Europe needs to get in Iran. Y'all just ignoring that part. What you ignoring that part for, Congressman? Mr. Mississippi Congressman, what you ignoring that part for? You see what I'm saying? We need to tell Speaker Johnson Europe needs to be in Iran. I know it's harder and more complicated than that, but we got to work to get that done, man. I'm telling y'all sleeping on the Europeans. I believe the Europeans collectively, and I might be wrong, collectively, their economy might be stronger than China. If you look at Germany, number 3, Italy, France, and the United Kingdom is top 10. You put all their economies together. I know they're smaller, way smaller, much smaller than China. But put all that money together, some of the richest nations per capita in the world, the richest nations per capita in the world are in Europe, bro. They got bread, old money. Europe got old money. They got aircraft carriers. With China trying to get them combined, they got the aircraft carriers. They got nuclear weapons. That's what I'm saying. Europe a world power. So I'm saying Europe, they could beat back Russia. behind Ukraine. I'm saying Europe could maintain on the world stage. Why wouldn't America use the Europeans? The Europeans, okay, you got Ukraine and he's standing firm against Russia. And I'm saying at the same time, you could use that British Navy and that French Air Force to help you in the strait. And at the same time, the Israelis, Bibi, he need to be calling on the Italians to help him in Iran to do a land blockade. Because I know America has the lead, but President Trump, your leadership, if you putting boots on the ground, is to let it be Israeli boots, not your boots. You might want to have maybe some special forces with the Israelis to help them, and you let them use all the American equipment, and you could use the American experience. Mossad and the CIA combined, but it needs to be all Israeli troops, all Israeli boots, no American boots on the ground in Iran. Israeli boots. It's bad enough you running all the sorties, you flying all the sorties. Those should be American planes owned by the Israelis. It's their conflict. Let's be real. Let them spend their money. Let them lose their soldiers. That's how, rest in peace, Lindsey Graham, you'll be able to get 60 to 70% support if America fights the war. I seen President Trump's ego was his ego was big as Brooklyn, big as the Bronx, big as Queens. He had went over there and bombed Iran. He was successful in that. No Americans died, no American troops, soldiers, airmen, pilots. Excuse me, y'all. After that, he went to Venezuela. He did what Putin couldn't do with Zelensky in Ukraine and Kyiv. He did that in Caracas. He snatched Maduro. He did that. You know, his ego was big. You know, American success. That's what I'm saying. That's what we looking. We want to maintain that. That's what we want. That's what we looking for. But due to that big ego, I'm saying he went in there and he stretched America thin on this situation and this conflict in a war that Iran had been preparing for, understanding that we're going to have to get in a greater situation or conflict with them to fully understand what's going on, to bring them to a position to where they can negotiate and we can end this situation. Going back to where it was, Iran, no, you cannot control the strait. You cannot control no fees. Ain't no 2 shipping lanes. If you have to have 2 shipping lanes to end this, that's not what you want, though. But I'm saying if Iran ends up negotiating and Iran just controlling, what they want is control of the strait. Iran moving forward want to be able to control the Strait of Hormuz. If they have control of the Strait of Hormuz, it's like they're the dominant power in the Middle East. You guys ain't realizing it. If the Iranians can have control of the Strait of Hormuz after this situation, Israel, I don't know, Bibi ain't gonna, they're the dominant power in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, they don't want that either. That's not what's gonna end up happening. I'm telling you, Iran can't see it. Iran trying to dust up smoke with everybody. Even if they get the rocket launchers from the Chinese and they could shoot rockets farther, I'm saying that's just putting the Chinese in a situation where somebody gonna come knocking on their door. It's greater military. This could, y'all laugh at me, but you know what I'm saying? This could break out to be a much larger conflict and situation, a much larger war. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying with much greater implications if it's not managed correctly. That's my take. Giving y'all my opinion, you know what I'm saying, a greater strategy, you know what I'm saying, great mind, your boy Ghost Rider, you know, the Democrats, I'm saying, like, I hear you take out President Trump, not from from some people who are lined up with the left, you know what I'm saying, you can't do that, because if you do that, President Trump, he the greatest ally to the Democratic Party politically. President Trump gonna be the one who get the Democrats elected to the Congress. Yeah, he's the one who's gonna do it. So you can't do that. That's greater strategy. You see what I'm saying? So now what I'm trying to tell you is greater strategy. After y'all focus on affordability, and you win those midterms and you get your power back, it's Congress's job. They go investigate, that's what's just gonna happen. But I'm saying, while y'all investigating President Trump, I'm saying greater strategy for America is for them Democrats to step in and them to help this war. It needs to end, I'm telling you, this year in 2026. By the end of 2026, what's good for America is that Strait of Hormuz is open. Business as usual. And if you can muster or manage to get the Iranians on the world stage, do it. Because it's going to be a different Iran. If Iran stay in this war, it's just like Iraq. It's just like the Taliban. Not to be fair, not to be dishonest. Listen, the Taliban, they might still be in power, but that's a different Taliban that America faced 20 years ago. I could guarantee you that. That's an American-friendly Taliban. As friendly to America as the Taliban could get, I promise you, the Americans probably are still in conversations with that Taliban because of the fact that Afghanistan is a terrorist breeding ground. And I think it just be due to the politics and due to how it's just in no man's land, it's a great place for terrorists to go train to attack America. But what I'm trying to tell you is the Taliban might still be in power, but that Taliban is a lot more friendly to America than that bin Laden-led Taliban was. So what I'm saying, the IRGC, they might still be in power after your scuff up with America, but I promise you, America and the Israelis about to kill thousands of y'all. That's what's going to happen. They're going to end up smacking them in the mouth. It's coming. I could smell it. I could smell it. You see a littler person or a littler power fighting a bigger opponent, and that bigger opponent, he's sitting there swinging at you and he punching you, but he ain't knocked you out, but we know he got the power. He got the power to take you out. So Iran gonna keep playing with America, and you gonna let America gonna come up with a strategy. I could give them a strategy right now. All the money America have in technology, bro, I'll be Zelensky. I'll be big. They'll call me Big Baby Zelensky. Because I'll be like President Obama. I would love them drones. President Obama loved them drones. I'll lease drones on the IRGC in ways that the mankind has never seen. See, President Obama, he had a different strategy. His strategy was to hunt and kill them individually. I'll get that intelligence on them with the IRGC commanders. That boy sitting down eating dinner with his family, just like the supreme leader. I unleashed them. I'm telling you, so in ways they don't want to see no smoke with ghosts. President Trump, he gonna have to crank it up on them. Bro, it's your $1 trillion. You got $1 trillion. Imagine if you was a third world nation and you had $1 trillion on the table and you turn your back to $1 trillion. You got people in your country starving. Because listen, I can't believe God cares about supporting the IRGC in no way. But God does care about those women and children. And God said to feed your enemy. It's his creatures. Even if they're your enemy, he does care about them women and children that might be going through difficult times in Iran. So some of that's going to trickle down to them, at least a little bit of it. You got $1 trillion on the table for the Iranian people. And they keep on the fight. Well, God gonna turn their back to you. Why in the world God ain't gonna let the Americans and the Israelis, these his people anyway. They might be a little bullying and they might be doing it in the wrong way, but God giving you a chance to repent. He giving you space to repent, Iran. This is your time to get right and repent. Even if you not real repenting, I'm finna fake the repentance. Shoot, it's a whole $1 trillion on this. Is a quarter. You want to fight against the richest. You want to be considered as the baddest. Well, you got a quarter, or you got 10% of the richest nation in the world, or they whole GDP. You got $1 trillion on the table. You could put your hands. That, bro, I'm talking about. That's how you get towards being like Saudi Arabia and being like Abu Dhabi and the Qataris. That's how you get to about getting the money. The whole reason why we gonna get nuclear dust in the first place, because we know the Americans care about this, and we know the Americans will come and give us a lot of money for this nuclear dust. That's the reason we gonna do it in the first place. Because the supreme leader said they didn't want an atomic bomb. I believe if the Iranians wanted one, they might have could have had one by now. But he know the Americans care about that. That's how you dictate and control. I'm saying, but like, come on, man. The problem with Iran is they creating their own mess. The Iranians said they didn't attack Egypt. They said Israel did that because they trying to bring Egypt into the war against them. I don't know if that's true or not. All I'm saying is it does not make sense for Iran for this conflict to continue. I'm going to tell you why. You trying to make President Trump look stupid. If the Europeans get in this conflict, he going to look like a hero. Because President Trump not going to do what George Bush did. As soon as he could get out of this, he going to get out of this. If he could get the Iranians to the table, he going to get on down. He's not trying to nation build or regime change. He's not going to try to do that. I don't care what he's saying. Military ain't trying to do that. They trying to get out of there as quick as possible. It's just Iran has got them trapped in, boxed in, won't let them out. So I'm saying this is a situation like this is deadly for the Iranians. Because I'm saying if you get them, forget Israel getting in it, forget Europe getting in it for a second, America and Israel. If you get them Marines and basically the CIA, if President Trump get them a kill list on y'all know what time it is. You seen what happened to the Supreme Leader. President Trump called Bibi and get a Mossad and them a kill list on the whole IRGC leadership, top 100 brass. He give them a kill list on them now. You know what time it is. They all dead. Iran, why would you go through that? I'm saying, yeah, the IRGC, like Ghost, you not Ghost, you trying to say you switch sides. You said the Taliban was still in power after President Trump left. Yeah, they still was in power, but it was a different Taliban that was in power when President George Bush went in there. It was a whole different Taliban, but they were still in power. That's what I'm saying for the IRGC. Yeah, y'all might stay in power for a second or when they leave. But it won't be y'all in power. All of y'all gonna die. And I'm saying America's gonna get better terms or they gonna get their deal. In the end, the United States is gonna get a deal in this situation, one way or the other. Iran cannot beat America in a war. Iran cannot defeat, if you looking at Iran defeating the United States in a way to make President Trump look stupid, yeah, they could do that. If Iran's goal is to get gas prices to $9 an hour, yeah, they $9 a gallon, they might be able to do that. If you're talking about fundamentally defeating the United States military, I don't see how they do that if it's prolonged. I don't see how they do that. Even if it's prolonged, America's just going to have a lot of casualties. Maybe that's what Iran's goal is the American casualties and America spending its resources and America going broke. I could only see that being its goal. I don't see them trying to say that they're going to defeat the United States in a prolonged conflict with the IRGC versus the Navy SEALs and the Marines and the U.S. Army Special Forces. Iran going to get crop dusted. I wouldn't talk like this. Y'all know I've been telling President Trump to get up out of there. But the Iranians want the smoke, so smoke they get. If you guys have not liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for me. Like the video. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, guys. We are on an hour and a half. This episode number 99. We got one more episode left. That's today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Guys, listen, Tax the Rich number 10, that's the final Tax the Rich. It is playing now on YouTube. You can exit out the live stream, go back to the Legal Wars Live landing page, click under the video tabs, Tax the Rich number 10. You can watch all of the Tax the Rich vlogs. EJ Knight by a Chicago restaurant. He trying to compare Chicago with New York City. Listen, this one I'm saying, you could get justice in the state of New York as well. It don't have to be in Chicago. The politics here are about the same. You got to understand, New York City is about what? 4 Chicagos. New York City is 3 or 4 Chicagos. If you're looking for liberal politics, you could get liberal judges, liberal politics. You could get judges in the city of Chicago who's willing to stand up against the government for the rights of the people. But you got to understand, that's what the ACLU do. And the ACLU headquarters is right here in New York City. You could get that same liberalism or that same civil right. Go to the ACLU lawyers. They're going to tell you 5 judges in the Southern District who's going to rule against President Trump or anything in his administration, the Social Security Administration, anything in his administration. There's 5 judges up here in Manhattan, the Southern District of New York, that's going to rule against President Trump 10 out of 10 times. You could get, EJ, you could get that liberalism any city. You got to understand, this is a ginormous city. Believe it or not, within this city, you're going to get conservatives who voted for President Trump. Whether you believe that or not, you'll get more than 1, you'll get more than 10, you'll get more than 1,000, you'll get more than 10,000. I just realized that. You're going to get more people, less than what you think. But you'll get more people, of course, who voted for a Democrat or voted for liberals. EJ, what I'm trying to tell you is you could, in this city, you could get conservatism or you could get liberalism. There's a lot more Christians than you realize in the city of New York. Everybody thinks New York is a big sin city. That's not what's going on. Upper West Side, y'all seeing it. I brought it to y'all. That's not what's going on. It's a lot of Christians in New York. It's a lot of Jews in New York. It's a lot of Muslims in New York. It's a lot of immigrants in New York. It's a lot of people in New York City who are Christians or religious people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So I don't know what you guys are thinking or what you're saying, EJ, but whatever you're looking for in New York, you don't have to leave the city. If you looking for something in a city, why would I go? Y'all not getting it. If there's something you looking for in the city, this is the biggest city. Listen, if I'm in Michigan, and if I have a situation where I have to file a lawsuit against a federal government agency, then yeah, Chicago is a city of justice. Chicago is a city for the people. I'm not diminishing Chicago. LA is too, but LA is bigger than Chicago too. But it's not that much bigger than Chicago. And when you compare them, yeah, a lot of people have gotten justice against the government in the city of Chicago. That's just factual. But you talking about the greatest city on earth, though. If you in the greatest city on earth, how can you not find justice against government oppression in the greatest city on earth? You don't have to leave New York to be able to stand up against government oppression. If you in Portage, Michigan, you need to get to Chicago to be able to do that. Because you have a lot of people in Chicago who will stand up against the government and their oppression. If you are in Ohio, yeah, you need to get Chicago. If you in Tennessee, you need to get to Chicago. But if you in New York City, you ain't got to go to Chicago, EJ, to do nothing. Everything you need is in this city. This is the biggest city in America by far. 10 million people within the city limits of New York City. You got 2 million within the city limits of Chicago. You got to understand that. You got 5 times what you got in Chicago here. If you looking for conservatism, you can find it in New York. If you looking for liberalism, or if you looking for the fight against civil rights, I don't think there's no greater city in a state where Governor Hochul said that the Statue of Liberty is in her backyard. You talking about symbolism. Governor Hochul said the Statue of Liberty is in her backyard, Ghost. You can't tell me that you're going to leave New York City in a fight against government oppression and go to Chicago. Chicago is a great city to do it in. New York City might be better to do that in, EJ. Yeah, in New York City, they fight government oppression. They do that here. If you guys have not liked the video, y'all double tap the screen, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure y'all hit that notification bell. DT Hope, what's up? Good morning, my brother. How are you doing? We on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Yes, I am a Christian. That's crazy for you to ask me that, EJ, because my God is a God of justice. My God isn't a God of corruption. My God is a God of justice. My God isn't a God of giving money to a rich man and starving the poor. That's not what Jesus did. Jesus came and he fed the poor. Jesus came and he loved the unlovable. My God is a God of justice. My God is a God of righteousness. My God is a God of fairness. My God is a God of hope and peace and love and dignity. My God is a God of free will. Those are all things. You talking about Christian, that's all the things I preach and believe in. So yes, I am a Christian, EJ. I'm glad you asked. Christ is King. It ain't nothing me saying, if you talking about, and I heard people say this all the time, you trying to say my support for the Democrats or my support for a democratic socialist, you question my Christianity. But you guys know I like Speaker Johnson a lot, but you guys don't never question my Christianity and my support for Speaker Johnson. That don't make no sense. I don't support whether I'm saying that I believe. Listen, I'm just telling you what I think will win. I think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the American people, will be a great leader that will help millions of Americans. That's what I believe. Now, if you're talking about support for a 5-year-old child coming to me telling me that they want to have a sex change, the American people ain't going to support that in a large part. If you talk about support and come to me talking about support for two men getting married, the American people ain't going to support that in large part. But that don't have nothing to do with my Christianity whatsoever. If you talk, because there's issues that the Republicans do, like burning 500 metric tons of food, EJ. There's things that the Republicans do that go against God, and the same as if the Democrats, you will never find a party that perfectly aligns with God. God said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar. That's both parties belong to Caesar, not to God. NY is the biggest, but it's not the greatest city. Chicago is. Michael Jordan proved that New York City is the greatest city in America, and it's the greatest city on earth. Period. Period. Listen, Chicago is way more prettier than a lot of people think. And there might be a time when I go back to Chicago and I do a tax the rich similar type of vlog or series. Chicago is way prettier than a lot of you guys think. It's a gorgeous city. It's ginormous, and Chicago is known as standing up against governmental oppression of the citizens of America. Chicago is the land, well respected. But Chicago is a city. And New York is the greatest of them cities. If you talking about Mississippi, that's different. If you talking about a rural land, you can't compare a rural city or state to a ginormous metropolitan like this, not in my opinion. But if you comparing city to city, you can't say there, you can't compare. How you gonna compare the New York Yankees with the Chicago White Sox? EJ, that was good, huh? These people, they win a championship every 2 or 3 years. Yeah, the White Sox, but they not the Yankees. The Cubs might have used to be. The Yankees used to be too, but they still are. It's not the same. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you looking, anything you looking for, there's things that you could look, that you will need in the city, you're going to get in New York. You're not going to get it in Chicago. That ain't no hate to Chicago. If I had to pick a city, I'm saying, like, what about Houston, bro? I got mad love for the city of Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like my business started, I feel like in Houston. You know what I'm saying? My future with this business is going to be formed or forged in this city. Whether or not you want to believe that, see that or not, it's being done right before our eyes, right here in this city. I got planted in this city, and I'm standing 10 in this city, and I'm fighting for justice in this city, the greatest city on earth. You ain't finna go to no city. I don't care if you travel to Beijing, and you ain't going to no city like New York City, bro. It's not like New York. Tokyo is a city, bro. Trust me, it's a city. They all about the same, but it ain't no city like New York. I can't wait to bring y'all content from across the world. Ghost Rider, oh wait, Ghost said he out in Tokyo. You see me out there saying, speaking that Japanese. Wait, Ghost said, oh, Ghost out there on Lake Como. He in Italy, you feel me? Oh wait, Ghost said, you know, London is the city, baby. You feel me? London is that city, man. He out here in London, man. That boy down here in South London, man. He out there in Wales, out there in the fields. Out there in nature, bro. Where he at, boy? He out here in the Swiss Alps. That boy out here in the mountains in Europe. I can't wait, boy. Wait, Ghost said he out here in Bali. Ghost goes to Bali. Legal Wars live on the road, boy. You heard me? It ain't gonna be taxed. I'm gonna be out there in Europe with the America the Great tour. Real talk. I'll be out there in Europe, live streaming all the way across Europe, just like this. Talking about outside though, I probably have cameras. I'm gonna get professional. Talking about how America is the greatest nation on earth. I'll be in Europe, the America the Great tour. You feel me? I teach you how to be loyal, man. I can't wait to go outside of the United States, though, to do content. You said Chicago got better looking ladies than New York City. I've been in New York City longer than I have been in Chicago. But from my time in Chicago, I didn't see that nowhere close. It's not even a close race. Bro, I'm telling you, the first time I got to Midtown in New York, within 2 or 3 hours, I seen the top five prettiest girls I seen in my life. Maybe outside of Miami. I'm saying listen, if you go to Chicago, what you gonna see? You get your beautiful white girls, you get your beautiful black girls, you get your beautiful Hispanic girls, but you get a lot of beautiful Indian girls. You'll see that in Chicago. I'm saying in New York, you're going to get a wider variety. Chicago has a lot of Asians. They don't have the Asians in the communities you have in New York City. I'm saying New York City, the south side of Chicago, and you talking about the south side of Chicago being a neighborhood where legends from all over the South went to, and they built the largest ghetto, what they'll call a ghetto in the United States, the south side of Chicago. You come up here, go to Brooklyn. I'm talking about you got neighborhoods, millions of black people. Go to Queens, go to Jamaica, Queens. You got neighborhoods with black people. I'm saying New York is way more diverse than Chicago is. You could go to Queens alone. There's one street in Queens that's close to Woodside. You go down Woodside, you get over 100 nations represented on that one street. Listen, Chicago's a great city, EJ. You just can't compare it to the greatest city. You could compare Chicago to LA, and you could compare Chicago to Houston. And if you compare Chicago to Houston or LA, not my experience from LA, you guys know my love for Houston. I stayed in the state. I visited Chicago less than 6 months ago. If you compare the cities, I'm saying Chicago is comparable to those cities. It's not comparable to New York. I've never been to a city like this before in my life. Never. EJ, that's just facts. I'm saying you talking about the whole city. You comparing Chicago to Manhattan, The island of Manhattan, okay, I understand that. You got to put the Bronx in there. You got to put Queens in there. You got to put Brooklyn. When y'all come to New York, if you're not going to a Yankees game, when do you go to the Bronx? When y'all come to New York, if you're not going, you see what I'm saying? A Nets game, when do you go to Brooklyn? You see what I'm saying? If you not, when you come to New York, when you land in JFK, or if you land in LaGuardia, you gonna land in Queens and you gonna go straight to Manhattan. So you comparing Chicago with Manhattan. You not comparing Chicago with the entire city of New York. There's no comparison. EJ, come to New York and stay like I stayed for 2 months and go across the entire city. Go across the city, bruh. I ain't even explored Brooklyn. It just seen the parts of Queens. I've been exploring, it's Manhattan that I know. You know what I'm saying? I be like to my mama, I know, like, oh, you got Washington Heights, you got Harlem, then you got the Upper West and East Side, then you got Midtown, then you got downtown and Lower Manhattan. Yeah, you might know Manhattan, you ain't finna do that in Brooklyn or Staten Island. I ain't even been to Staten Island. That's what I'm saying. You talking about the whole city of New York, man. I'm sorry, Chicago can't compare it to. Bro, if I come to Chicago right now, you ain't gonna see no beautiful ladies right now like that either. Bro, it's like I'm on the Upper West Side. It's 150, number one. Number two, a lot of the girls here, you got a lot of Jewish females, you got a lot of Indian females, you got a few Hispanic females, a bunch of European females. That's what you getting in this area. I'm saying go to Midtown. Go to Midtown. Any times, all times of the day. You got to understand, I'm in a neighborhood. When you in neighborhoods with apartments that are the cheapest apartment, 3,000, they going up to 20-some thousand. You looking at, like, you ain't going to just, you got to go to those cheap and those hip places in the city to see the kind of girls you talking about. If you go to Austin, there's certain areas where you're going to see all the girls. Go by Lady Bird Lake in the park. You see what I'm saying? There's certain areas where you see girls, but I'm saying, me personally, I could just pull up in your city. You got anywhere you got a large population of Latinas, you're gonna see beautiful girls everywhere. I'm telling you, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Brazilians, gorgeous everywhere. Butter pecan, every color of the rainbow. From white to our color, skin color. The Hispanics, I'm just saying, they got the packages. If you go to Miami, you'll see a bunch of gorgeous black girls. You'll see a bunch of gorgeous white girls. That's more so, I believe, in Chicago from my experience. That's more, I don't know, New York is just bigger. I mean, if you want to see gorgeous black girls, go to Jamaica, Queens. I'm saying, you talking about the islands, you're going to see black. I'm talking about, if you don't like black women, you'll start liking black. Real talk. I'm saying what you looking for. I ain't come to New York for the females, though. I came to New York for Miller Ray Legal, LLC. EJ, what you need to do. When you back up out this live stream, stay on Legal Wars Live, click on the video tab and watch Tax the Rich number 10. If you watch Tax the Rich number 10, you'll understand why I'm still in this city. Just like when I went to Houston, it's beautiful girls anywhere you go in America. You're going to get beautiful women. You see what I'm saying? You don't have an opportunity to build greatness in Mississippi like you do New York City. And that's facts. You don't have an opportunity to build greatness almost in any city in America like you do in New York. The downtown part of Chicago has almost a quiet suburban feel compared to the loveliness of New York. Look, the downtown part of Chicago, it is beautiful. It is unbelievably gorgeous, bro. You got a lake, bro, it's layered. Like in Chicago, there are buildings you can go to and you can, bro, it is a gore, bro, don't talk to me. I done been to the city. Go watch We the People tour. I was in Illinois for like a week, six months less. How long I've been in New York? Bro, I was in Illinois for like a week in August of last year. For a week. I started in the cornfields in southern Illinois, and I made my way all the way up to the city of Chicago. Don't talk to me about Chicago, man. Before I ever went to Chicago, I understood how Chicago was beautiful and gorgeous and what Chicago represented in America. That's the same thing from New York. You can't argue with it. Listen, if you go to Europe, let's say, let me pick your city. Let's say you go to what country we gonna go to? Let's go to Frankfurt. If you go to Frankfurt, you don't think they know where Chicago is? You don't think they know LA? You don't think no one in Frankfurt heard of LA? What about Berlin? Let's leave Frankfurt and let's go to Berlin. You think in Berlin they don't know where, but I'm saying you talk about New York City, they know New York City anywhere, everywhere you go. It's New York City. Come on, man. I don't even know why would we have an argument about our American cities. We should love all of our American cities. Those people from who were overseas, I heard Abby Phillips said this. You see what I'm saying? Shout out Abby and CNN. Those people who visited America due to the World Cup, they got to see how beautiful America really was. Chicago and New York and Los Angeles. And they was everywhere. They was out in Jersey. Like May say, I'll be out in Jersey, Puffin Hershey. They in Connecticut. You feel me? And they in Boston, Massachusetts, and Austin, Texas. Y'all just don't know how big and beautiful America is because you stuck in your community. You open a magazine and you want to fly to Abu Dhabi. That's not me. I want to see my country, all of it first. I want to go to San Diego. You see what I'm saying? My country, all of my beautiful country. That's what I'm interested in. America is beautiful. Yeah, you want to go to Lake Como. You want to go to Sicily. You want to go to Santorini too. But I'm saying I ain't going to go to Santorini before I see San Diego. You understand that? I'm going to see my San Diego first and understand my San Diego first before I even have an interest. By the time I'm ready, bro, I done seen listen, when I go out west, a lot of y'all ain't gonna understand. It's like, it's not even states. I'm not checking my number of states when I head out west. Cause I done stayed in New Mexico for 90 days. I'd have been to Colorado 100 times. I'm talking about in the last 6 years I've been to Colorado. I'm saying I done stayed in Kansas for over 30 days. In the state of Kansas, Dorothy, yeah, Kansas. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. We head out, I done been through Oklahoma, I done been through all them states. You know what I'm saying? California, Nevada, and the state of Washington. That's about it, man. Nevada, that's about it. After I do that, the whole continental United States, you can find states. I didn't go to Delaware. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go to Maine, but I went to Connecticut and Massachusetts. I might not make it to Vermont or New Hampshire, but I done seen now you see what I'm saying? I understand every region. I done been and stayed for months and possibly years, and every single region in the United States, all 50 states, every region, the West Coast, the Mountain West, the Central America, we talking Midwest, we talking about the East Coast, the true East Coast, and the South. Southwest, the whole South, all of the South, every state, Texas. You talking about the last 6 years? Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. Yeah, in the last 6 years, I've been to Florida, boy. I was in Tampa. In 2019, I was in Tampa for some weeks. Tampa's a gorgeous city. I had been to Tampa on that side of Florida one time. Most of the time when you go to Florida, every time I was on the Florida, we go to the East Coast side. You know what I'm saying? Palm Beach, we go, you in Fort Lauderdale, you in Miami, you know what I'm saying? Dade County, anywhere you go to, really, if you're going to Daytona Beach, you ain't really trying to do Miami. You want to see, Florida got some of the prettiest white girls in America in Florida. I can promise you that. You talking about gorgeous women? You want to see some pretty white girls, boy? You go to Florida. Listen, I done seen some black power black dudes. They turn into. I'm talking about Florida got white girl. You go to Tampa, you gonna see white girl. You ain't what? I'm trying to say it's gonna be like what? And then they got a bunch of Latinas too. It's America the Beautiful. It's our all 50 states. Utah too. South Dakota too. Mississippi too. All 50. West Virginia too. All 50 states. You love your America. This is our America. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California up here to this New York Island. If you guys have not liked the video, I ask that y'all double tap the screen. Maryland and Virginia Beach. Yes, indeed. I can't tell you, I was stationed in Fort Lee, Virginia. I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I can't tell you how many times I've been to Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach. You see what I'm saying? Your boy Ghost is a traveler. I didn't just start traveling. I've been traveling whole life. Yeah, man, I haven't been to DC. I need to go to DC. We need to do like a little tour. Our next tour, really, for the love of America, gonna have to be to DC. It's no way in the world I can't do a vlog in DC. Even if I just get on a train and take a trip, I definitely have to go to DC. 10,000%. We have to touch Washington, DC. Somebody says they Cuban. Them Cuban girls are gorgeous. I promise you. You talking about in Florida, them Cuban girls, them Cubans in Puerto Rico, we could go down the Hispanic, I'm talking about Cuban, Puerto Rican, boy, you talking about Dominicans, them my favorites. Them Dominican girls, you be thinking a girl is a black girl in Houston, that girl Dominican. And I'm talking about she look like a black girl, but she got, I'm talking about like really, really good hair, almost like white people hair, and she built like a stallion. You'll be seeing them there, how them funny color eyes, like green or light blonde eyes. They ain't no African looking black girls. Some else, yeah, they got that Hispanic background, that white in them, that Spanish blood in them, that Indian blood in them. Them black girls, they be having, I'm talking about Houston. If you don't like black girls, go to Houston. Go to Atlanta, bro. It's America the Beautiful. There's girls anywhere you go, there's gonna be girls. That's what I'm saying. You can't tell me to leave the Upper West Side because there's girls here. The girls really are primarily, they be in Lower Manhattan, Midtown, and downtown. You know what I'm saying? It's a different community that's up here. But I'm saying if you gonna go to the city, it's not about being where the girls at. You're going to be where you want to live at. If you living in the city, where else you going to want to live if you live in New York City than the Upper West or Upper East Side? Where else? You don't want to live in Midtown. There's too much action down there. Too many clubs. You going to go to Midtown. You ain't going to live in Midtown, are you? I'm not looking for no girls, man. I'm trying to build a business. It's a difference. Somebody say you made money in DC. I could make $1 trillion in DC. DC is the law city in America. If you guys don't know that, y'all vote for representatives who are primarily lawyers who go to Washington, D.C. to represent you, okay? Those lawyers or representatives have lawyers, and lawyers with lawyers, and the White House got lawyers, and everybody got lawyers. It's all about the law. So if you guys don't know this about Washington, D.C., a paralegal, I don't even know, I haven't looked, but the average salary for a paralegal with experience is probably over $160,000 in D.C. Virginia, Maryland, that D.C. area, that metro, and the larger metro area, there's a bunch of jobs for paralegals in that area. Everywhere. High-paying paralegal jobs. High-paying jobs for law people in Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying? The East Coast, man, I'm saying the West Coast, America. Love America. East Coast, West Coast, any coast. Love America. You see what I'm saying? East Coast, West Coast, South Coast, Mid Coast, wherever you at. Just love America. I made it work. I made y'all love America in Tennessee. Tennessee and North Carolina are gorgeous. I'll make you love America out here on the Upper East Coast. Tax the rich out in NYC. You know what I'm saying? I did a tour in Texas, in the South, the Texas tour. You see what I'm saying? Making you love the great, beautiful state of Texas. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk about the Texas tour. I did that January through March of 2025. You see what I'm saying? All the way across Texas in the South. Like all across America, man. We're going to go to Cali, the West Coast. We probably start in the Mountain West and make our way across to Cali. That's the whole of all of America. I'm going to do a tour, talk to the voters, to the people. America the beautiful, man. First and foremost. We're going to go overseas too, man. We're going to go all over the world. God let me live, man. As long as I'm single, man, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it in. So you're going to have good times and you're going to have bad times, hard times. But what my mission or my goal, I'm staying focused on. Legal Wars Live in them court cases. I never lose Legal Wars Live, boy. Even if I lost this channel, I'm not going to lose Legal Wars Live or my ability to give you strategy and analysis. And you're not going to lose some very powerful people who want to hear what I got to say when I talk politics. Very powerful. Very powerful. Elected representatives. They love hearing your boy Ghost talk politics. Tennessee is beautiful. Gatlinburg, Smoky Mountains. Y'all don't go to the Appalachians. Boy, Caryville, Tennessee is one of the pretty. They got a park in Caryville where I was doing the We the People vlogs for them. I started streaming there every day. If I had a camper, I would have been Legal Wars Live. I would have had Tennessee jumping. I would have had Tennessee jumping. When I get that camper, it's going to be on and popping. Get it wrapped. Legal Wars Live, pull up with the cameras and the microphones and get to talking politics. And I'm telling you, the Appalachian Mountains is just as gorgeous as the Smokies. If you go south of the Smokies and drive into North Carolina, I forgot that highway because I'm going to travel on it when I get back down south. It's some of the, if I haven't been up Highway 1, I'm going to start in San Diego, Lord willing, Highway 1, and I'm going to go all the way vlogging up the coast to California till I get to San Francisco. That's one of our next tours. But what I'm saying is, if you go down south to North Carolina, underneath, south of the Rockies, and you travel all the way across North Carolina, into Tennessee, starting in Tennessee, and you travel into North Carolina, I'm saying that's some of the greatest I've ever seen in my life. Highways, roadways, waterways, whatever. I'm talking about trees growing out the water, bro. I was praying, I was worshiping God. Man, I'm talking about that BMW was swinging and banging. That's how I started the We the People tour in the great state of Tennessee. Bro, I got so much love in Knoxville, you wouldn't believe it. It's like your boy Ghost Rider in Tennessee. Hey, listen, I'm telling you what happened. When I got to Knoxville, I started talking. I did a live stream about, during the We the People tour, about President Bush. The first George Bush, 25 years of the Americans with Disabilities Act. As a disabled American who protects the rights of disabled Americans, 25 years celebrating 25-year history of the Disability Act. I started doing a live stream when I was in Knoxville doing that. Bro, I'm telling you, I put this on my mama, on the news, in the newspaper, on the post, and Knoxville might have been finna do this anyway. But I'm saying everywhere. I started seeing the city of Knoxville, they celebrating the Americans with Disabilities Act. It was a beautiful thing, man. I got a lot of love in North Carolina, boy. Your boy went to North Kakalaki. I was like a rock star, bro. I put this on my mama. You could ask my mama, I told her. I go into North Carolina in subways. I promise you, it's not like the people, I have this problem when I go a lot of places, but they were interacting with me in North Carolina positively. I promise you. Look, it was they were college-age females, blonde-haired, little pretty female. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what, in North Kakalaka, boy, I'm telling you, North Carolina surprised y'all. Y'all talking about, girl, yeah, you go to Raleigh, it ain't nothing but Hispanics everywhere. Raleigh, Durham, all that area. You looking for them Hispanics, they in North Carolina too. Yeah, in North Carolina, beautiful. It's got mountains, bro. Listen, bro, I go in the subway, man. I told my mama this. Bro, I had a pocket full of money. I had just paid off my car, got that BMW. You know what I'm saying, bro? I was chilling with my moms down in Biloxi, going to the beach. I was going to the beach every single day. Every day I'm on the beach, boy. Man, I pull that BMW up to the beach with that music blasting. I'm talking about, bro, about 7,000 or so in the bank. I had thousands in my pocket, boy. This was just last year in 2025 before I left up here, man. I'm talking about I was chilling. I had just won a bunch of cases, boy. I was feeling like Superman, feeling invincible. Can't be stopped, boy. You know what I'm saying? I had about $3,000 left. And I said, I'm finna go file some lawsuits, man. Some cases I had to go file, man. So I headed to Tennessee. That was my first stop. Listen, when I was in Mississippi, though, I went to North Carolina. When I had the money, I spent about a week in North Carolina. That was one of the most beautifulest weeks in my life. I was staying in very nice hotels all across the mountains, you know what I'm saying? Asheville, you know what I'm saying? I told y'all about Raleigh. I mean, I tore North Carolina down. When I ended North Carolina. I'm telling you, this is the highlight of my trip to North Carolina. I'm gonna tell you how them 7 days went. I went to North Carolina to get my military discharge upgrade. So when I'm getting my military discharge upgrade, I finished that. I got to go to Fayetteville, North Carolina. When I was in the Army at Fort Bragg, I had a DUI. The military got the DUI thrown out, but a failure to appear was still on my record. 21 years. This is what I have the problem with my license. We hadn't talked about this. But if we got to continue in these cases, we going to explain why. I have to explain to the judge why I don't have my license, man. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I don't have my license is because of that. So I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Fayetteville. The only way I could get these charges dismissed is I have to go to court, have to make an appearance. You see what I'm saying? And 20-some years, just make a motion, dismiss the charges. They say you got to go talk to the DA. So I go talk to the DA. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'll put this on everything. I said, you riding around, bro. I'm talking about with tens of thousands of dollars and you got the money. You go from having nothing to having tens of thousands of dollars and you got the money from lawsuits. And I'm sitting here in Fayetteville because I got a failure to appear from 20-some years ago. Just want to appeal in the U.S. Court of Appeals, and I'm sitting in front of the county prosecutor, like the number 2. He number 2 in Fayetteville, in North Carolina. I put this on my mama. I told my mama, I think I told my daddy this too. Listen, so we talking about the ticket. It ain't no problem. He like, all right, we finna drop the ticket. It's been 20-some years or whatever like this. And so one of the prosecutors that was with him, I had seen him. He was a young dude, white dude. I'm talking about that boy was sharp. You know, as a paralegal, I say I might put a button-up shirt on, but I never like putting no tie on. And I felt like if I was a lawyer, I'd change the game. I'd come in the courthouse wearing a t-shirt, and to the judge, he made me put on a suit. That's how the kind of lawyer I would be. Not when the case first started, I'd be wearing a suit, but you know, I'll tell you about that. But listen, so I'm looking at him. I'm like, golly, I said, he's sharp, man. He cleaner than any one of the other lawyers. He got on some of them tan boots with the point on it. I'm talking about his suit, everything. He fresh to death. The number 2 prosecutor, he looked at me and he said, yeah, he a young attorney. He said, you know how it was when you first started out. He said, you got that fire. He got that fire in his bosom, man. You know what I'm saying? You come into court every day, you clean as I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? You focus, and you know, you thinking in your mind that, but then you find out that this game is a lot different, this legal game is a lot different than what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that even as a 2-year paralegal, but I got experience in the game. And this prosecutor, you know, he number 2 in Fayetteville, you know, he young though, he about 50-something, but you know, he got mad experience litigating cases. He said, Greg, you know, he said, if you want to stay, he said, you could stay. I promise you, man, I'm up there. Listen, I'm up there in North Carolina, bro, trying to get a case dismissed against me that's 21 years old, and the prosecutor for Fayetteville County, you talking about millions of people. He said, if you want to stay and kick it with us while my little young prosecutor prosecute this case, you can do that. You think about that, boy. A convicted felon. Changed my life, turned my life around, won an appeal in the U.S. Court of Appeals, and I'm sitting here right now across from the county prosecutor, number 2 in charge in Fayetteville, asking me if I want to chill with them while they litigate a case. This is the county. They bringing charges against somebody. Somebody's life is in the balance at stake. He got a young prosecutor, one of his first cases, and they asking Ghostwriter, the paralegal, if he want to chill up here in the box with him while they litigate. Shout out North Kakalaka, man. I done got love all across America. Y'all know the love I got for Portage, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave here with love for Mendami in New York City, too. Boy, they sure, the state of New York done showed me love since I've been here. Before I won a case, the state of New York showed me love. Before I won one case. You know what I'm saying? Medical insurance from the state, I got that. I got it from the federal government too. TANF or whatever from the state, I got that. They didn't show me love now. Real time, just be honest with you, be real with you. They showed me love before I won one case. You know what I'm saying? If I stay in your city for a long time, y'all gonna love me. Every city I go to, they love me. They begging for me to come back home. Begging for me to come back home. Anywhere I go, they love me. Bro, I'm an improvement to your city as soon as I step into it. What's up, William? If you guys haven't liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell. 2 hours and 15 minutes. We still got another live stream today, y'all. At 2 p.m. Eastern, that'll be 1 p.m. Central. You know what I'm saying? Episode 100. That's the conclusion of the Tax the Rich tour. That's it. It's over with. But we not finished. We'll be live again after today on Tuesday. Man, I just forgot we might not be able to go live on Tuesday. Let me not tell you that. That's scheduled on August the 4th. But you know I got court cases, so I got a court case on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. So let me say this. We probably going to be live again after today, the 2 streams on Monday. You know what I'm saying? That seems like regular. We up to our regular program. But then Tuesday and Wednesday, we won't be live. We'll be live on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Our normal streaming days for strategizing with Ghostwriter. I thought that bus was finna take me out. Hey, our normal streaming days for strategizing with Ghostwriter is Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every other Saturday, we're gonna do a series called Guilty or Innocent. You know what I'm saying? So that Guilty or Innocent is a series we used to do before. I'm deciding to bring it back, man. There's a couple of legal situations. Nolan Wells, we got Nancy Guthrie, a couple of legal situations where there's unsolved mysteries. So I'm going to use my legal expertise and we're going to talk about it. That'll be a lot of fun. But guys, yeah, once again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern time today. You know what I'm saying? Your boy be live again. We're going to be talking about them taxes, man. That's what this was all about, Tax the Rich tour. Bernie Sanders said with that 5% wealth tax, listen to me. Bernie Sanders said a 5% wealth tax in California, which is on the agenda, on the ballot in November. If that wealth tax in California passes, then they're going to take some money from Mark Zuckerberg. He's the owner of Facebook and Instagram. They said the money they take from Mark Zuckerberg alone, 5% wealth tax, is enough to pay for 3 million people to have health care. That's amazing. We're going to talk about taxing the rich and how these rich men are getting richer and how we need to levy stronger and heavier taxes on them to protect America. 80 more years of greatness. That's the aim. Republican, Independent, Democrat, you are welcome here if you love your nation. We love our nation here on Legal Wars Live. That's my time, people. Episode number 99. The Tax to Rich Tour. We got episode 100 coming at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So, guys, I hope to see y'all right here, Legal Wars Live. As we exit the live stream, I'm asking that y'all please, will y'all stop on the landing page on the Legal Wars Live YouTube, click on that video tab. I know I'm not a video guy, guys. I'm not an entertainer. I'm a strategist. It's like Carl Rove trying to make a vlog. Y'all click on that video tab, man. Y'all check out Big Ghostwriter, you know what I'm saying, with them vlogs and that content that I'm bringing to y'all. That's my time, y'all. I gave y'all 2 hours and 20 minutes. We got one more live stream. That'll be episode number 100. We'll conclude the Tax to Rich Tour, but we're going to conclude the tour right here in the city of New York. And then I'm going to start right back up on the Strategizing with Ghostwriter right here in the city of New York. As long as my business, Ameliorate Legal LLC, have cases here, I'll be here. Listen, I'm going to say something and I'm going to address something else. I heard somebody said that they want me here. You know what I'm saying? If you want me in the city, whatever, y'all know whatever. I don't have to know whatever, you know whatever. What I'm saying, y'all already know with Ghostwriter, it's going to cost you, man. You got to pay the toll. There's a fee. You got to pay the toll, man. You know what I'm saying? If you think you can make it or go without my expertise, whether it's in the legal field or in politics, if you don't think I'm great, if you don't think I'm a future legend, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's on you, but I'm saying, like, if you want me to stay and add my skill and expertise to whatever you need me to add it to, I just got to get paid, man, just like you do when you get paid. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody else, I need to get paid. So look, if the money come, I'm with for whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, I don't have a problem putting a flag in Manhattan. Like, this is New York City. You know what I'm saying? With the cases and me and fighting for, yeah, I don't have a problem with doing that whatsoever. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Just like I did in Houston, just like when I go to San Diego, man, I'm going to get a lot of love in San Diego. I could tell you that right now. I know that for a fact. You could try to stop it. You can't stop it. I said, whatever city I pull up into per the community, they're going to come out and look. They're going to come out. Say what's up to your boy, man. It's Ghostwriter, man. That's episode number 99. We got 100 coming up today at 2 p.m. And then we strategizing with Ghostwriter right here in NYC. Man, I could imagine strategizing with Ghostwriter. We're looking at the next 90 days of Legal Wars Live. Not that much content, not as much content, but we'll still be right here in the city of New York. That being said, bro, that's my time, man. I appreciate y'all. I love every last one of y'all, man. Thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for being the best part of Legal Wars Live. Thank the whole city of New York, man, for the hospitality for your boy, man. You feel me? Real talk, man. For being young and a little kid, man, you always want to come and see the city. New York City, man. I don't know how many of my family members, greater family members, if they, a lot of them on my daddy's side especially, been to New York City, but spend as much time as I have in the city. To be able to do that, man, it's a great thing. I never in my mind would have thought that I'd be staying on the Upper West Side of Manhattan amongst these $12,000, bringing you guys this content. But that's what we doing, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. Like I said, y'all showing up, y'all supporting Legal Wars Live. That being said, that's my time, man. I'm gonna have to get up out of here. Look, EJ, this is just for you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I hate doing this, bro. I don't never do this, but EJ said he don't see no pretty girls in this city, but you're crazy. Hey, EJ, right before I got out of here, I could do that with the police officer. The police officers, they be so pretty, bro. You looking for them Hispanic girls. Them Hispanic girls, they gonna bring that flavor to your city. They got a bunch of white girls be pretty all across America. You know what I'm saying? You have black girls pretty all across America. You have European girls. God, beautiful women. God created beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get, if that's what you're looking for, you're going to get them in every city you go to. But I'm saying that America is so big You know what I'm saying? And I mean, New York City, America is so big, but New York City is so big. I'm saying it's like everywhere. Like but living in a city with a bunch of beautiful women, it'll get you. You don't care about no girls like that. I was in Houston like that. Every day, every time, if you gonna go to the gas station, you'll see 5 or 10 girls that you'll probably marry. You know what I'm saying? But if that's what you there for, then that's what you there for. But me being in like I have been before, and that's not what I'm being there for. I just noticed the, but I'm here for the work, and we getting the work done, baby. Tax the rich, baby. We did it. One more live stream, man. Get this behind us. We moving on to strategizing with Ghostwriter. Still in New York City, man. We gonna try to go explore some different places, though. You know what I'm saying? Go look at Long Island and some different places. But I'm gonna just bring the content to you. You know what I'm saying? The vlogs or whatever in different ways than on the tour. You guys gotta wait and see and check it out, man. I appreciate you guys, man. I see y'all at 2 p.m. Eastern time, man. No matter what you're doing, you on the beach, you with your wife, you cooking dinner, eating whatever, y'all put the headphones in, turn your boy Ghost on, come rock with me, man. I appreciate y'all support, man. I'll see y'all this afternoon.